Good morning, my friends. Today you are in the art studio of Angie Wright, and I'm checking out some Daniel Smith watercolor sticks. I just got them in the mail. These are the sticks that I ordered, and I noticed compared to yesterday, because yesterday the Winsor Newton sticks came in. So I just want to make sure you guys can see it. Yeah. Okay. Look at the difference in the size. Now, Daniel Smith says that these sticks contain enough for 3 full pans of paint, which I actually believe. Look at the difference. And these are quite a bit thicker, as you can see. But I want to see how they lay down, how they scrub out, if the colors are just as vibrant. The colors that I picked, I'm just going to close the Winsor Newton set. I want to be able to compare the two. The colors that I picked were Hansa Yellow, which is PY65. All of these have a light fastness of excellent. They're LF1. The Quin Coral, which is right here, that is PR209. Imperial Purple, which I believe, is it this one? No, that's Moonglow. Imperial Purple that's Carbazole Violet. This one. Imperial Purple, which is PV29, which is Ultramarine Blue, and PV19, which is Quin Red. So this one is a granulating pigment. Then Carbazole Violet. Originally, this was supposed to be a quinacridone violet, but I got this one instead. I imagine they're both the same price, but it's not a bad color, and it does still have an excellent light fast rating. It's made with PV Pigment Violet 23. This one here, just so you know, I got these on sale. I'm in Canada, and a tube of Daniel Smith paint for enough for 15 mils or almost 15 mils of Daniel Smith paint is generally between $16.99 and $30, depending on where you shop. I always shop sales, but these Daniel Smith sticks were on sale for $10 at King's Framing and Art Gallery in Callender, and we're in Northern Ontario, Canada, so it's local, fairly local to me, so I love shopping local if I can. Otherwise, I shop from DeSeras. This particular color, the Cobalt Teal Blue, is PG50. The reason why it's like the cost is very economical, and you can break pieces off and just put them in your pan. I plan on breaking some off and just putting it in my full pans, because I'm slowly converting over to full pans because my brushes find it's a little easier than the half pan. It's the half pan. And I didn't write one down on here, which I just realized. This one here is Rich Green Gold. This has become some of these colors have actually become some of my favorite colors, and I got them in the Atacano palette that I received, that I won. The ones that I got in that palette were actually Carbazole Violet, Rich Green Gold, and Quin Coral. And those colors I just fell completely in love with, especially this green gold. Usually I mix this color as best I can, and that's how I like to use it. And then when I tried it, and it was so vibrant and so beautiful. Daniel Smith, like, I have Holbein paints, I've got Winsor Newton paints, and I've got Daniel Smith paints. And the Daniel Smith, I love my Holbein because they're very controlled, but the Daniel Smith paints, I gotta say, they are one of the highest quality paints that I've ever used, including my acrylics. I like them even better than Winsor Newton. They're really a great brand if you can get them in your area. I know it depends on what country you're in as to which paints are cheaper. For us, Holbein here in Canada isn't too bad, but I usually just order it from Japan, from Amazon. My Daniel Smith paints, though, because they're from the US in Seattle, I can get those at my local art stores and shop around, but usually between DeSeras and this company, King's Framing and Art Gallery, and they do ship worldwide. and their shipping is free over $75. So if you want to see some, they have really great sales. If you want to check out their sales, please do check out their website. It's a good website. Now, the one color that I forgot to write down is this little one. This one's like smaller than all the other ones, which is interesting because I believe it's supposed to be 12 mils. This is Moon Glow. Now, Moon Glow is a Daniel Smith primatek color, which I really, really love. I love the primatek range. They're very earthy. They're made of ground pigment. Well, I realize all paints are made of ground pigment. This particular color is actually a mixture of 3 colors. It's a mixture of Viridian. Let me just check here real quick. I need my magnifying glass, which is why I do this ahead of time, and I forgot this one. Okay, so ultramarine blue, PB29, Viridian, PG18, and anthraquinoid red, which is PR177. The light fastness on this one is excellent as well, and this will be a granulating pigment because it has the ultramarine in it. So I wanted to test these out and see what the difference is between these and the Winsor Newton sticks. The Winsor Newton sticks I tried yesterday, those are kind of like, they remind me of playing with crayons. They're super fun and I really like them. I like them best to apply water to them and let them sit and really activate and then play with them. But so I wanted to see what these ones here were like. So without further ado, let's get this going. Now this one is Hansa Yellow Deep, and Hansa Yellow Deep is described on Daniel Smith's website as, they have a romantic description of, I call it romantic, it's hilarious really, of each of these colors, and they do give you suggestions as to what colors to use with which, what complements each of the colors, which I appreciate. It's always nice because I always give them a try. But on Daniel Smith's website, they say that this particular pigment is like the perfect yellow. I think the reason why I like it is because this one here has a kiss of orange, and I use Aureolin, which I find a very nice neutral yellow. I find I can use that yellow with both a cool palette or a warm palette, and it'll go really well with both. Now I did have a Yellow Deep by Holbein, but their light fastness was rated as a 2-star. So I don't want to use something with a 2-star. I like to keep my pigments as basically a 3-star or above. So, which is why I ordered this one. I needed a replacement for that Yellow Deep. So let's take a look. This is PY65, Pigment Yellow 65, which in here, the Cad Yellow hue that we did yesterday, this has PY65 mixed with, here's the difference, Cad Yellow with PY97. Now let's just take a quick look. All right, now I am on an awkward angle with my camera here, so I'm gonna try just turning it this way. Let's see how. And I do like it, and I like it both dry and wet. I like that I can get where it shows a little bit of the paper, it shows a little texture. I don't know, that's very appealing to me. Now I'm going to try and go dark down here. And I just realized I did that on the Quin Coral. Whoops. All right. Well, we're going to reverse that, and that is going to be Hansa Yellow, and Quin Coral is going to go here. Now, you see this little water brush. I'm using this water brush because it's a synthetic brush, because I can basically scrub the heck out of it and not feel bad, and that way it's not going to ruin, just in case I got to really scrub, it's not going to ruin one of my expensive watercolor brushes. My brushes have gotten, in acrylics, I always just bought whatever was cheapest, and you know, cheap but good, and I like a lot of snap in my brushes. I like the brush bristles to come right back in my acrylics. In watercolor, I find they don't hold enough water, and it's the first time ever that I've really been concerned with a brush where I I will not like a certain brush for watercolor. And it's interesting because brushes that I had bought that were said that they could be used for acrylic, I find them good for watercolor. Like this little cheapy brush here. This one here, I had never found a use for it, never really used round brushes before. And since watercolor, like a round brush is one of your main tools. And this one here actually holds quite a bit of water. And so I discovered that even though I didn't like it as an acrylics brush, when I tried it with watercolor, when I was first starting out, I really did like it. The brushes that I avoid using with this stuff is the Escada. I have the Escada Tendo brush. I ordered it from Jackson's Art Supply. Here's where it's dark. I ordered it from Jackson's Art Supply. And that brush is like one of my babies. I love it. I can't even tell you how much I love it. It holds a ton of water. I would recommend that brush to anyone. I absolutely love it. The one thing that does take some getting used to is that it mimics a squirrel hair brush. And a squirrel hair brush, a natural hair brush, is very, very soft. And I really like that color. It's super soft. And as you're painting with it, I'm just cleaning my brush. As you're painting with it, it doesn't snap back. It'll snap back the first little bit, but then the bristles will stay in that position like a real squirrel hair brush. And I just love it. And I had a hard time getting used to it because I'd never used a brush like that. But once you get used to it, and you get used to it being soft like that, you learn to appreciate it for just for this. You learn to appreciate that softness. How am I trying to word this? You learn to appreciate that softness instead of where with acrylics, like if I would use a soft brush, I'd be like, this is too soft. You know, it doesn't push my paint around. Same with oils. Oils, you need a much stiffer brush, even more so than the acrylics brushes. Ooh, this is one of my favorite colors. That's so pretty. Let's see where it gets really dark. I like using this one in sunsets. It's gorgeous with yellows. Let's see, look. Let me do the dark part. Ooh, that's so gorgeous. I'm gonna have so much fun with that color. I just love it. Now you can still see a little bit of the marks that I made. I don't mind that. I've learned to appreciate texture in my work. I never used to like it. I used to like having even in my acrylics, I liked having everything super, super smooth. Let's try now. Next is Imperial Purple, which is right here. This one here I'm super curious about, because it's the combination of the ultramarine blue and the quin red. I love both those colors. I love the granulation that an ultramarine blue gives. Okay, let's try going dark down here. See what kind of pigment we can get from it. And the other reason why I bought these is because I started finding an interest in encaustic and in encaustic mediums, and I've been watching some videos on it, and a lot of the encaustic artists that I like have been using this with it. Pan pastels too. I haven't bought pan pastels yet though. I wanted these first. Ooh, that's so pretty. Now, I want to really get my water flowing on this one. And for my swatch sheets, I'm just using Canson Excel. I have 3 brands of watercolor paper that I use. I use Arches Cold Press. It's a beautiful paper. I do use the hot press too, but I use that for my colored pencil work. For watercolors, I enjoy the cold press. I just ordered some Hanamule, and they're a German company, and they're amazing. They're cotton rag. Now, they are externally sized, so if you know what that means, if you know whether or not you like it, because not everybody likes external sizing. Honestly, I don't really have a preference at this point. Maybe in the future I will. Now, what I love from this color, I don't know if you can see it, is I can see the pink tones from the Quin Red, and I can see the blue, and it's just gorgeous. I love that. Let's take a look at Carbazole Violet. Now, I've used Carbazole Violet in, that's Imperial Purple. I've used Carbazole Violet in my watercolor paints. I do have it in my palette. It's a nice purple. Dioxazine purple is another word that paint companies call it. I like this one because it can really go from a super dark range to giving you some of the most cleanest, beautiful purple washes. And I like the way that it mixes. I find that it has a clean mixture, which for me is important. I hate muddy colors. Muddiness usually indicates as to how many pigments are being used, if you're mixing warm and cools, how you're mixing the two colors. But there are some colors where, and I find this happens most, here I'm going to add a little water. I find this happens most when, ooh, that's gorgeous. There we go. I find it happens most when there's a multi-mixture color. And those multi-mixture colors, because there's multiple pigments, the more pigments you add in a mixture, the harder it is to get a clean mixture. Now, this is Cobalt Teal. This one here, Cobalt Teal, is an expensive color. It's an expensive pigment for companies to make. It's made with PG50, I believe. Yeah, PG50. I love, love, love teal, and I love PG50 pigment. And when a company cheaps out and they don't make it with the PG50, I know right away. You can see it. And I love this. I'm so in love with pigments. I'm such an art nerd. And you can use these on anything. You can make cards with them. You can use them in paintings. I could take this little box and go out painting on site, which I'm not big for painting outdoors. I don't like people seeing me paint and watching me paint. It's not my thing. I'm just starting to get used to it now because I've joined a painting art group locally, and they're a great little group. I love this color. I love the vibrancy. PG50, I love you. Best pigment. There we go. For me, watercolors are like magic. They really are. Now, Rich Green Gold. This color I completely fell in love with, like I said. Now, it's made with PY29. On the stick, I did check the Daniel Smith website. On the stick says azomethine yellow, 5G jaune, and then, so to me it looks like it's two pigments. I don't know if maybe this was an older batch, because on their website it says it's only made with PY129, and PY129 is here. And I'm not quite sure. I'm going to look up what that pigment is, because I'm not really too sure what it is. And let's see if I can get lots of pigment right here. Such a beautiful color. It reminds me of when I use an olive green and I add yellow to it. I add aureolin to the olive green, but this gives it more of a natural sun-kissed hue, if that makes sense. So beautiful. Look at how gorgeous that is. Like, Daniel Smith, I've found, is one of those companies in watercolors that if I buy something Daniel Smith, I'm very, very rarely disappointed. And that's what it looks like in water. Beautiful. Oh, so beautiful. Sometimes I feel like I have an art problem. I love art supplies. And I have a problem because I love buying art supplies. I know a lot of artists that have that problem too. And the last one, but definitely not least, I have wanted to try this color. This is Moonglow. It's an earthy color. I thought it was a Primatek color, but now I'm not so sure. Oh, we'll take a look here. I should probably turn it off, redo my swatch, re-video it. I don't want to because I started playing with them and now I really like playing with them. And I'm more interested in playing than having a perfect video at this moment. All right, let's take a look. Now, Moonglow has some really amazing reviews. Let's see if I can get more pigment down here, which I can. I want to see what it's like when you put it directly into the water. It's tinier than the other ones, which I find interesting. There we go. And there's a few little bits here that aren't quite dissolving. So let's try. Go directly on the Moonglow. Oh, there. There. It just needs, it's this one. Okay, so this one here is just a little bit, sometimes you get a color that's a bit hard to activate. So this one here, I'm probably going to put in one of the watercolor pans, which I was going to do anyway. Just because it'll help it. That way I can pre-activate it. See if I can dissolve this little bit, because there's little tiny bits on here. I'm not really loving that, but that's okay. So yeah, I'd suggest with this color, because it's harder to activate, I would suggest putting it in a pan and spritzing it with water before you paint with it. There we go. It's nicer. It's a really nice shadow color. It's a nice shadow color when you're doing landscapes, or say you're doing a snow scene and you need a nice shadow for your snow. I like using it like that. Beautiful. All right. Now, let's compare. If we compare the Winsor Newton to the Daniel Smith, the Daniel Smith is definitely more vibrant. Yeah, they're more vibrant, which I expected, but Winsor Newton's still good. I really like these. I'm so in love. Okay, I'm gonna go because I want to play with these, and I already have my Arches paper taped down underneath here, and I put this paper there to protect it. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.